Some nights, being tired isn't the problem. The harder part is letting go of everything the day has left behind. In Fall Asleep Fast, all-night healing hypnosis I am anchoring, you'll be gently guided toward deeper rest, allowing the weight of the day to soften as you settle into the night. For more peaceful sessions to return to whenever sleep feels difficult, subscribe to Sleep State Meditation. From here, there's nothing you need to figure out. Simply let the next words carry you forward. You're lying there, completely exhausted, but your mind won't stop. Thoughts still moving, even though your body is ready to sleep. Like something in you is still running, even though the day is already over. There's still a subtle tension in your body, like something hasn't fully powered down, even though you're lying still. Not loud, not obvious, but constant, like something is still trying to keep you in place. And the more you've carried that version of yourself through the day, the harder it becomes to just not carry it now. So instead of switching off, the body stays alert in small ways. The mind keeps checking, even when there's nothing left to check. And you don't have to figure this out on your own, because your body already knows how to begin easing out of that state. Because stopping isn't what your system responds to right now. It responds to something else entirely, something quieter, that starts before you even notice it. And you might already feel a small shift beginning, not because anything changed on the outside, but because something inside is no longer pushing in the same way. Breathing is still happening. Inhale arriving, without needing to be controlled. Exhale leaving, slightly longer than before. And with that longer exhale, the body receives a signal that there is no immediate demand, no urgency, nothing required in this moment. The chest softens just a little, not because you told it to, but because it no longer needs to stay held. The shoulders begin to lower in a way that doesn't need to be tracked, and the jaw remains loose, without engagement returning. Nothing is being forced to relax, but certain areas simply stop holding on their own. Breathing continues. Inhale, entering quietly. Exhale, leaving, longer, more complete. And with each exhale, there's a slight increase in carbon dioxide in the blood, which tells the nervous system it is safe to slow down. Heart rhythm responds to that, not dramatically, but gradually, becoming more even, more consistent, without needing attention. And as that rhythm steadies, blood pressure stabilizes alongside it, the body no longer preparing for something that isn't happening. There is no need to check ahead, no need to resolve anything before resting, because the systems that used to scan for that are already beginning to quiet. And thinking doesn't need to be stopped, because it starts losing structure when the body no longer supports it. A thought may begin, but it doesn't fully form, and something about that continues without needing to finish. Another inhale arrives, soft, unforced, and leaves again, slower than before. And that longer exhale deepens the vagal response slightly, allowing the nervous system to shift further, away from activation, toward regulation. Muscles continue to reduce their baseline tone. Not all at once, but in small releases that don't need to be noticed. The face remains still, the eyes resting without effort behind closed lids, and the forehead without tension returning. Nothing is being corrected. Nothing is being fixed. Because nothing is actually wrong in this moment. And that realization doesn't need to be understood. It simply begins to register at a level deeper than thought. Breathing continues. Inhale entering, steady. Exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And the gap after the exhale holds just slightly longer now, without effort. That pause signals further safety, further stability, and the system continues adjusting accordingly. There is nothing you need to maintain, nothing you need to return to, because the version of you that was holding everything up is no longer being reinforced in this moment. And without reinforcement, it begins to soften, quietly, without needing to be let go directly. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale leaving, longer, and the body responds the same way it's designed to, lowering, settling, stabilizing, without needing guidance. You don't need to get anywhere from here, because the shift has already started, and it continues, whether you follow it or not. And something about this feeling begins to register as something familiar, something your system can return to again whenever it needs to rest like this. And something about that removes the need to try, even a little. And as your body stops trying so hard, there is less inside you that needs to stay switched on. Not because anything has been resolved, but because nothing is being held in place the same way anymore. Breathing continues. Inhale arriving, steady. Exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And with each longer exhale, the body leans slightly further into a state it already recognizes without needing to name it. The chest no longer needs to stay lifted. The ribs move less on their own, and the diaphragm begins to settle into a slower pattern. Nothing needs to be directed, because your body knows how to keep softening from here, as if it has more space to move the way it prefers. Another inhale arrives, soft, quiet, and leaves again, longer, unbroken. And with that exhale, the nervous system receives the same signal again. No demand, no urgency, no requirement to stay activated. Heart rhythm responds, slowing slightly, evening out, without needing attention or tracking. Blood pressure continues stabilizing, baroreceptors adjusting in the background, confirming that everything remains within safe range. And as that stability holds, the body no longer prepares for interruption. No anticipation forming ahead of this moment. The muscles remain at rest. No signal rising to engage them again. No instruction being sent to hold or brace. The shoulders stay lowered. The neck remains loose. The jaw unchanged, without tension returning. And deeper within, internal systems continue their quiet adjustments, each one responding to the same absence of demand. Breathing continues. Inhale entering, steady. Exhale leaving, longer, slower. And that longer exhale continues increasing CO2 tolerance gradually. which further reduces the drive to overbreathe. And as that settles, the body no longer signals for unnecessary alertness. No need to stay ready when nothing is required. A thought may begin again, but it doesn't fully organize. It drifts before it forms. And something about that continues without needing to complete. There is less structure now, less continuity between one thought and the next, as if the mind no longer needs to build anything from them. And that reduction doesn't need to be noticed directly, because it happens underneath awareness. Another inhale arrives, soft, unforced, and leaves again, longer, more complete. And the pause after the exhale extends slightly, without effort, holding a moment longer before the next inhale returns. That pause continues reinforcing the same signal, that there is no interruption coming. And as that becomes consistent, the system stops preparing for one, no anticipatory tension returning. The body continues lowering, not in a way that needs to be measured, but in a way that continues on its own. And somewhere in that continuation, there is less of a need to stay aware of it, because nothing is changing that would require monitoring. Nothing is shifting in a way that needs correction. And so awareness begins to loosen slightly, not disappearing, but no longer holding everything together. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale leaving, longer. And with that exhale, the body settles deeper into its own baseline, without needing to return anywhere. There is nothing to maintain, nothing to stabilize manually, because stabilization is already occurring automatically. And as that continues, the sense of holding yourself together begins to feel less necessary. Not because anything has changed on the outside, but because the internal demand to do that is no longer being reinforced. Another inhale enters, quiet, steady, and leaves again, longer, slower. And with that, the system remains here, in a way that already begins to feel familiar, easy to return to whenever rest is needed again. Nothing needs to deepen yet, because what is already happening continues on its own. And as this continues gently, there is even less separating one moment from the next. Not because anything has stopped, but because nothing is forming strongly enough to carry forward. Breathing continues. Inhale arriving, steady. Exhale leaving, longer, unbroken. And with that longer exhale, the body lowers again. Not in a way that needs to be tracked, but in a way that continues automatically. The chest softens further, movement becoming smaller, less defined. As the breath begins to regulate itself more completely, another inhale enters, quiet, minimal, and leaves again, slower, more complete. And the pause after the exhale extends just slightly more, without any need to hold it. That pause continues to signal stability, allowing the nervous system to remain in regulation. Heart rhythm remains even, steady, unchanged, no variation that requires attention. Circulation continues calmly, without fluctuation, without urgency, and the muscles remain fully inactive. No signals rising that require response. No engagement returning. The face stays still, unchanging, the jaw loose, without any need to adjust. And deeper within, internal processes continue their steady pattern, each one maintaining without interruption. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And with that exhale, the vagal response deepens slightly, further reducing sympathetic activity. There is no activation returning, no alertness rising, because there is nothing triggering it now. A thought may begin again, but it dissolves before forming clearly. No structure holding it together. Another begins and fades the same way, without needing to be followed. And as that continues, there is less continuity between them, less connection forming across time. So nothing builds, nothing carries forward, nothing requires completion. And without that, the mind no longer organizes itself in the same way. Breathing continues. Inhale entering, soft. Exhale leaving, longer, slower. And the body responds again, lowering, settling, remaining at the same level without change. There is no need to deepen anything, because the system is already moving in that direction, without instruction. And somewhere in that movement, there is less of a sense of needing to stay present in it. Awareness begins to loosen further, not disappearing, but no longer holding each moment together. And as that loosens, the edges of experience become less defined, less structured, so nothing stands out strongly enough to be followed. Another inhale arrives, quiet, minimal, and leaves again, longer, more complete. And the pause after holds again, slightly extended, without effort, without control. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption, no shift away. The system remains at this same level without needing to return to anything else. And as that remains, the sense of being held together continues softening without needing to be released directly. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale leaving, longer, slower. And with that, everything continues at the same steady level, a state your body begins to recognize and return to more easily each time. Nothing forming, nothing building, nothing requiring continuation. And as everything continues to soften like this, there is even less to organize around. Not because anything has disappeared, but because nothing is stabilizing into something that needs to be held. Breathing continues. Inhale, arriving, light. Exhale, leaving, longer, more complete. And with that exhale, the body settles again. Not in a noticeable shift, but in a continuation of what is already happening. The chest moves less, the breath becoming quieter, less defined with each cycle. Another inhale enters, soft, minimal, and leaves again, slower, unbroken. And the pause after the exhale extends again, holding slightly longer without effort. That pause continues signaling safety, reinforcing that nothing needs to change. Heart rhythm remains steady, even, consistent, without any variation that needs to be tracked. Circulation remains calm, flowing without urgency, without adjustment. And the muscles remain fully inactive. No signals rising, no engagement returning. The shoulders stay lowered, the neck loose, the jaw unchanged, the face still, without movement. And deeper within, internal systems continue their quiet regulation, each one maintaining without interruption. Breathing continues again. Inhale, arriving. Exhale, leaving, longer, slower. And with that exhale, CO2 levels continue to rise slightly, supporting the shift further into parasympathetic dominance. There is no drive to overcorrect, no signal to increase breathing, because the system recognizes stability. A thought begins again, but it does not connect. It remains incomplete and fades before forming clearly. Another begins and dissolves the same way, without continuation. And as that continues, there is no longer a sequence, no pattern forming between them. So nothing builds, nothing progresses, nothing needs to be resolved. Breathing continues. Inhale entering, soft. Exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And the body responds again, remaining at the same level, without any upward shift. There is no return to effort, no need to re-engage anything, because nothing has required it. And somewhere within that, awareness continues loosening, not holding on to each moment as clearly. Edges soften further, boundaries less defined, nothing standing out strongly enough to follow. Another inhale arrives, quiet, minimal, and leaves again, longer, slower. And the pause after holds again, steady, unforced, extending slightly longer than before. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption, no variation, no change requiring attention. The system remains fully within this level, without movement away from it. And as that remains, the sense of holding any version of yourself together continues softening, not disappearing, but becoming less necessary to maintain. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale, leaving, longer, more complete. And with that, everything continues. Steady, unbroken, in a way your system begins to remember and return to more naturally each time, without forming into anything that needs to continue. And as this steady rhythm continues, there is even less distinction between one moment and the next. Not because anything is flattened, but because nothing is rising enough to be separated out. Breathing continues. Inhale, arriving, light. Exhale, leaving, longer, more complete. And with that longer exhale, the body lowers again, not as a shift, but as a continuation already underway. The breath becomes quieter, less noticeable, moving in smaller ranges without interruption. Another inhale enters, soft, minimal, and leaves again, slower, unbroken. And the pause, after the exhale, extends slightly further, holding without effort, without control. That pause continues reinforcing the same signal. No interruption, no requirement to change state. Heart rhythm remains even, steady, consistent, without variation. Circulation continues calmly, flowing without urgency, without adjustment. And the muscles remain fully inactive. No signals rising, no engagement returning. The shoulders remain lowered, the neck loose, the jaw unchanged, the face still, without movement. And deeper within, internal systems continue stabilizing, each one maintaining its pattern without disruption. Breathing continues again. Inhale, arriving. Exhale, leaving, longer, slower. And with that exhale, the parasympathetic response deepens further, reducing any remaining sympathetic signals. There is no activation returning, no alertness rising, because nothing is signaling for it. A thought begins again, but it does not complete. It dissolves before forming structure. Another appears and fades the same way, without continuation. And as that continues, there is no sequence, no progression linking them together. So nothing builds, nothing moves forward, nothing requires resolution. Breathing continues. Inhale, entering, soft. Exhale, leaving, longer, more complete. And the body responds again, remaining at the same level, without upward movement. There is no return to effort, no re-engagement of control, because nothing has required it. And somewhere within that, awareness continues loosening, not holding on to each moment as distinctly. Edges soften further, boundaries less defined, nothing standing out clearly enough to follow. Another inhale arrives, quiet, minimal, and leaves again, longer, slower. And the pause after holds again, steady, unforced, extending slightly longer than before. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption, no variation, no change requiring attention. The system remains fully within this level, without movement away from it. And as that remains, something more subtle begins to shift underneath. Not in the body, but in what the body no longer needs to hold. What used to stay in place without being noticed begins to feel less fixed, less required to remain exactly as it was, not changing directly, but no longer needing to stay defined. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And with that, everything continues. Steady, unbroken, in a way your system begins to recognize as familiar, something it can return to again and again, without forming into anything that needs to continue. And as this subtle shift continues quietly underneath, there is even less holding anything in place the same way. Not because something is being released directly, but because it is no longer being maintained. Breathing continues. Inhale arriving, quiet. Exhale leaving, longer, slower. And with that exhale, the body settles again. Not deeper in a measurable way, but more completely into what is already here. The breath becomes even less defined. Movement smaller, quieter, continuing without interruption. Another inhale enters, soft, minimal, and leaves again, longer, unbroken. And the pause after the exhale holds slightly longer, without effort, without awareness needing to follow it. That pause continues reinforcing stability, no interruption forming, no need to prepare for change. Heart rhythm remains steady, even, consistent, without variation. Circulation continues calmly, flowing without urgency, without adjustment. And the muscles remain fully inactive. No signals rising, no engagement returning. The shoulders remain lowered, the neck loose, the jaw unchanged, the face still, without movement. And deeper within, internal systems continue their quiet regulation, each one maintaining without disruption. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale leaving, longer, slower. And with that exhale, the parasympathetic response stabilizes further, holding without fluctuation. There is no activation returning, no alertness rising, because nothing is signaling for it. A thought begins again, but it does not complete. It fades before forming clearly. Another appears and dissolves the same way, without continuation. And as that continues, there is no structure forming between them, no sequence to follow. So nothing builds, nothing carries forward, nothing needs to be resolved. Breathing continues. Inhale entering, soft, exhale, leaving, longer, more complete. And the body responds again, remaining at the same level, without any upward shift. There is no return to effort, no re-engagement of control, because nothing has required it. And somewhere within that, what once felt like a fixed version of you begins to feel less defined, not removed, not replaced, but no longer needing to hold its exact shape. The sense of carrying that version continues softening, not as a decision, but as something that no longer requires energy to maintain. And as that continues, there is less distinction between what was held and what is here now. Less separation, less structure, less need for definition. Another inhale arrives, quiet, minimal, and leaves again, longer, slower, and the pause after holds again, steady, unforced, extending slightly longer than before. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption, no variation, no change requiring attention. The system remains fully within this level, without movement away from it. And as that remains, what used to feel separate continues blending, not merging into something new, but no longer holding distinct edges. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And with that, everything continues. Steady, unbroken, in a way your system begins to recognize as a place it can return to more easily each time you rest like this, without forming into anything that needs to continue. And as everything continues to soften and blend like this, there is even less distinction between what is held and what is not. Not because something has changed suddenly, but because nothing is being reinforced strongly enough to remain separate. Breathing continues. Inhale arriving, soft. Exhale leaving, longer, slower. And with that exhale, the body settles again. Not deeper in a way that needs to be measured, but more completely into what is already stable. The breath becomes even quieter, less noticeable, moving without interruption. Another inhale enters, minimal, unforced, and leaves again, longer, unbroken. And the pause after the exhale extends again, holding without effort, without awareness needing to follow it. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption forming. No need to prepare for anything ahead. Heart rhythm remains steady, even, consistent, without variation. Circulation continues calmly, flowing without urgency, without adjustment, and the muscles remain fully inactive. No signals rising, no engagement returning. The shoulders remain lowered, the neck loose, the jaw unchanged, the face still, without movement. And deeper within, Internal systems continue their quiet regulation, each one maintaining without disruption. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving. Exhale leaving. Longer, slower. And with that exhale, the parasympathetic state holds steady. No fluctuation, no return toward activation. There is no alertness rising, no scanning returning, because nothing is signaling for it. A thought begins again, but it does not fully appear. It dissolves before forming. Another follows, and fades the same way, without continuation. And as that continues, there is no structure between them, no sequence linking one to the next. So nothing builds, nothing progresses, nothing requires completion. Breathing continues. Inhale entering, soft. Exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And the body responds again, remaining at the same level, without any upward shift. There is no return to effort, no re-engagement of control, because nothing has required it. And within that, what once felt like a defined sense of self continues softening, not disappearing, but no longer holding its previous boundaries. There is less separation, less distinction, less need to maintain a fixed position. And as that continues, there is less reference to anything outside this moment, less orientation, less connection to what was or what might be. Another inhale arrives, quiet, minimal, and leaves again, longer, slower. And the pause after holds again, steady, unforced, extending slightly longer than before. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption, no variation, no change requiring attention. The system remains fully within this level, without movement away from it. And as that remains, everything continues, steady, unbroken, in a way your system begins to recognize as your natural resting state, something it can return to whenever you need it, without forming into anything that needs to continue. And as this steady state continues gently, there is even less forming that could be followed. Not because anything has been removed, but because nothing is organizing into something that needs attention. Breathing continues. Inhale arriving, soft. Exhale leaving, longer, slower, more complete. And with that longer exhale, the body settles again. Not as a shift that needs to be noticed, but as a continuation that no longer requires awareness to stay with it. The breath becomes quieter, less defined, moving without interruption, without variation. Another inhale enters, minimal, unforced, and leaves again, longer, unbroken. And the pause after the exhale holds, slightly extended, without effort, remaining without needing to be tracked. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption, no change forming. Heart rhythm remains steady, even, consistent, without variation, without shift. Circulation continues calmly, flowing without urgency, without adjustment, without response. And the muscles remain fully inactive. No signals rising, no engagement returning. The shoulders remain lowered, the neck loose, the jaw unchanged, the face still, without movement. And deeper within, internal systems continue their quiet regulation, each one maintaining without interruption, without variation. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale leaving, longer, slower, more complete. And with that exhale, the parasympathetic state remains dominant, holding steady, without fluctuation. There is no alertness rising, no scanning returning, no signal forming that requires response. A thought begins again, but it does not appear clearly. It fades before structure forms. Another follows and dissolves the same way, without continuation, without sequence. And as that continues, there is no connection between them, no pattern forming across them. So nothing builds, nothing progresses, nothing needs to complete. Breathing continues. Inhale entering, soft. Exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And the body responds again, remaining at the same level, without any upward shift, without return. There is no effort returning, no control re-engaging, because nothing requires it. And within that, what once felt defined continues softening further, not disappearing, but no longer holding shape. There is less separation, less distinction, less reference to anything outside this state. And as that continues, awareness itself no longer holds a clear center, no longer organizes around anything stable. Another inhale arrives, quiet, minimal, and leaves again, longer, slower, more complete. And the pause after holds, steady, unforced, remaining without movement, without shift. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption, no variation, no change. The system remains fully within this level, without movement away from it, without return. And as that remains, everything continues. Steady, unbroken, in a way your system recognizes as your natural place to rest, something it can return to whenever sleep is needed, without forming into anything that needs to continue. And as this steady continuation continues gently, there is almost nothing forming that could be followed forward. Not because anything is stopped, but because nothing is gathering into something that needs to continue. Breathing continues. Inhale arriving, quiet, minimal. Exhale leaving, longer, slower, more complete. And with that exhale, the body settles again. Not as a change, but as a continuation that no longer needs awareness to stay with it. The breath becomes even softer, less defined, moving without interruption, without variation. Another inhale enters, unforced, minimal, and leaves again, longer, unbroken. And the pause after the exhale holds, slightly extended, remaining without effort, without control. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption forming, no change required. Heart rhythm remains steady, even, consistent, without variation, without shift. Circulation continues calmly, flowing without urgency, without adjustment, without response. And the muscles remain fully inactive. No signals rising, no engagement returning. The shoulders remain lowered, the neck loose, the jaw unchanged, the face still, without movement. And deeper within, internal systems continue their quiet regulation, each one maintaining without interruption, without variation. Breathing continues again. Inhale arriving, exhale leaving, longer, slower, more complete. And with that exhale, the parasympathetic state remains fully established, holding without fluctuation, without return toward activation. There is no alertness rising, no scanning returning, no signal forming that requires response. A thought begins again, but it does not form. It dissolves before structure appears. Another follows, and fades the same way, without continuation, without sequence. And as that continues, there is no connection between them, no pattern forming across them. So nothing builds, nothing progresses, nothing needs to complete. Breathing continues. Inhale entering, soft. Exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And the body responds again, remaining at the same level, without any upward shift, without return. There is no effort returning, no control re-engaging, because nothing requires it. And within that, there is less reference to any version of yourself at all, less need for identity to hold shape. Not removed, not replaced, but no longer forming in a defined way. There is less separation, less distinction, less orientation to anything outside this state. And as that continues, awareness itself no longer organizes into anything stable. Another inhale arrives, quiet, minimal, and leaves again, longer, slower, more complete. And the pause after holds, steady, unforced, remaining without movement, without shift. That pause continues reinforcing the same condition. No interruption, no variation, no change. The system remains fully within this level, without movement away from it, without return. And as that remains, everything continues, steady, unbroken, in a way your system recognizes as your natural place to rest, something it returns to more easily each time you come here, without forming into anything that needs to continue. And as this same steady continuation remains, there is nothing that needs to begin again. Not because anything is ended, but because nothing is forming that would require it. Breathing continues. Inhale arriving, quiet, minimal. Exhale leaving, longer, more complete. And with that exhale, the system remains at the same level, without change. Another inhale enters, soft, unforced, and leaves again, long, complete. And after it, the pause holds, steady, unbroken, continuous. No return from it. No shift away. Everything remains within it. Heart rhythm even. Steady, unchanged. Circulation calm, without variation. The body fully at rest. No signals rising. No engagement returning. Breathing continues. Inhale. Exhale. And with that exhale, stillness remains. Without movement. Without increase. Without interruption. Awareness, no longer forming clearly. No edges. No structure. nothing to organize around. And as that continues, there is no orientation. No need to locate anything. No reference to hold. Another inhale arrives. Quiet, minimal, and leaves again. Long, complete. And after it, the pause remains. Steady, unbroken, holding without effort. No change forming. No signal rising. No return to activity. Everything continues without variation, without interruption, in a way your system recognizes as your natural state of sleep, something it returns to each night without effort. There is no need to maintain this, no need to remain aware of it, because it continues on its own. Breathing remains the only movement. Inhale, exhale, and stillness following. Holding without end, without effort. And if anything begins to form, it fades before it completes, leaving nothing behind. No trace. No continuation. The system remains fully settled, fully regulated, without fluctuation. And as that continues, there's nothing to return to, nothing to resume, nothing to begin again. Breathing continues. Inhale, exhale, stillness, holding, remaining throughout